Hello guys, welcome back to another stream. So today we'll be building this e-commerce website. This is an e-commerce website that uses fake store APIs. So this is not hard coded. We have used APIs for this. So you can just add to cart. The cart will be added like this. You can proceed to checkout. It doesn't have a actual checkout feature, but it just says proceed to checking out, just like that. And it also has a sorting mechanism, just like this. Is it electronics or all, just like this. And all of these are dummy datas. This will be, we'll gradually be making all of this in upcoming videos and streams. And with that said, let's get started, shall we? So let me just quickly do that and bring the actual VS Code that we'll be using to build this, just like that. And here what I'm going to do is make two more files, that is style.css for styling and script.js for the actual logic, right? And let's start with our thing. I'm going to close this and I'm going to quickly make our boilerplate. So that's our doc.html. Just gonna start it via live server, just like that. I'm gonna change the document, change the document text to something like buy more, which again, this is just a random company name. It's not, a real one. I'm just gonna doing modern e-commerce, just like that. That will change the name just like that. And next thing I need to do is to link. And now this will be our style.css link. So I'm just going to link it like that. And also link our script.js just like that. I also need font awesome icons. So let me get the CDN font awesome icon pack just like that. Now this is something you can get via fontawesome.com. You can get their icon packs. This is basically the CDN one. So it's just open to every single one of you. So I'm just going to be using that. So let's go ahead and start this project, shall we? So the first thing I need to do is make a div that will basically be our container. I'm just going to make a container just like this. And inside this, I'm just going to make our sidebar first. So I'm just going to make a little thing, just sidebar. I'm just going to do sidebar as well. And inside this, I'm also going to do dot sidebar. I'm just going to do sidebar header. And inside this header, I'm going to make a logo that will basically say buy more. Right? And here, I'm just going to make a stats card. So this will be our card for every single one of the numbers, right? The actual numbers. This is a dummy data, but once if you do backend, then you'll just probably get this from the backend APIs. And do stats number and do 37 here, and change that to stats label, and do orders, and do last 7 days. I'm just gonna put it just like that, and that should be done. So if I just check that, that is all that we had to do for the sidebar header. So next is sidebar content. So I'm just going to do sidebar content. And inside the sidebar content, what I'm going to do here is make a button first. So the first button will be just called explore button. By the way, if you want the source code for this, I'm going to link it in the description of the stream. So yeah, you can check out the source code. Yeah, it should be right there. And just do class FE compass. I'm just going to do compass here and also do explore new. That'll give me a compass icon and also give me the text, And after that, I need to make a nav group. So what I'm going to do here, this will be the container for all of those things, right? Each of one of these will be a link, which will obviously lead to nowhere. And the first one will be the thing, which is our popular products, whatever you want to call it, anything you want. Do nav item.active and do I tag, change that to a fire. And here I can change that to popular products, doing just like that. Now I can copy and paste this multiple times. I'm just gonna do that. And I don't need this active, so I'm just gonna remove. Actually, what I can do is remove the active. Oops. And I'm just gonna copy that. Paste that. I don't think I need that many. And add active here. And I'm gonna change the icons now. So the second one will be a t-shirt for, you know, clothing and shoes or whatever. Do clothing and shoes. And next thing I'm gonna do is gifts and living. I'm gonna probably change that to a gift icon, just like that. The last one will be inspiration and do light bulb, just like that. That will be our sidebar content, right? Sidebar content. Now, next thing I can do is probably here. What I can do here is to make it more SEO friendly, I can use aside here again, because since this thing, I can just probably use aside here. I'm gonna format the document. And yeah, that should be pretty much it. Now for these, now for the sidebar footer, right? So here I'm just gonna make a div for sidebar footer. Inside this, I'm gonna make a div for recent orders, and I'm gonna make an h4 saying recent orders, and also make a div for order item. I'm gonna make two order item, right? So just basically trying to simulate the previous orders if you can put any. So this will be again, this will not be that thing. We'll be using it from, I'll be putting from JavaScript. Now for span, I'm just gonna do like Snickers. This is dot, by the way, if you guys are wondering what is this. So this is a dot, and this is the actual label. It is empty right now. We'll style it using CSS, and we should be fine. So next thing that we need to make is we have to make another one of these, right? And just do that. Just change the content to, like, I don't know, winter jackets, whatever you want. I just have a few dummy days here. I'm basically just using that. And that's pretty much it. So for recent orders, that is it. Next, I need to make a logout button. It will technically log you out. It should. But for now, we'll just refresh the page if we could. But this will just be a dummy logout button, because that is not our core focus for today's stream. So yeah, I'm just gonna do sign out alt. So that'll give me a sign out or log out icon. And here I can just basically write log out. And there we go. That is all for the thing, right? Now let's make the styling for this. Now, first of all, I need to do is basically make margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing set to border box, just like that. Next thing I need to do is make body, I need to do font family, I can do enter. I'll probably use enter here. Can do is do Apple system, right? Now I will just cut everything that I don't need here. Just like that. So that I'm going to use enter. There we go. And now I'm just going to do background, set that to FAFBFC. That is a darkish, a little bit a darkish gray. And do color, set that to 1A202C, which is dark color, and do line height, set to 1.6. That is all of the CSS. For body, now for the app container. App container being the main container, the app, right? I'm just gonna do display flex min height. I'm gonna do 100 VH, just like that. Now next, what I'm gonna do is actually style the sidebars. So I'm just gonna do sidebar. Now here, what I'm gonna do is do width 260 pixels. Do background white. Do border right 1 pixel. Solid E2, E8, and F0. And do position set to fix. Oops. And do height. While I do this, how was your day, guys? Let me know. Let me know how was your day. Do left 0. Do top 0, and z index. Set that to 100. Display flex, and do flex direction column. There we go. Now that is a, we are basically setting the width, and we should be fine. So we're setting it fixed on left 0 and top 0, which makes sense, right? Now we just style the actual headers. So I'm just gonna do sidebar, do sidebar header, and do padding. Do that, and do padding. I'm gonna set that to 1.5 rem, 1.5 rem, and 1 rem. And here do border bottom 1 pixel, solid F1, F5, and F9. Just like that. Now for the logo, right? So for the logo, I'm just gonna do font size 1.25 rem, font weight set to 700, do color, set that to the same signature black color, and do margin bottom set to 1 rem. There we go. Now for the stats card, set the background to grayish color. So I'm just gonna do F8, FAFC. There we go. You can see the darkish color right here. Next thing I need to do is set the padding. So I'm just gonna do padding 1 rem, and do border radius set to 12 pixels, and also do text align set to center. There we go. And next for the stats number. Do font size 2 rem, and also do font weight 600. Do color that black, and do line height set to 1. And yeah, that should be it. Now for the stats label, do font size 0.75 rem. Also do color, set it to 64748B, and do margin top 0.25 rem. There we go. And with that said, I should be done. Okay. So for the sidebar content, right, I can do sidebar content, do flex 1. There we go. And here I can do padding 1.5 rem and 0. And do overflow advice, that do auto. Now for the nav group, right, the actual nav bar, I can do margin bottom set to 1.5 rem. So that is the container. Oops. That is the container. Now for the nav item, what I can do display flex, do text line center, and do padding, set that to 0.625 rem, and also do 1.5 rem. There we go. And do color, set that to same one, just like that. Type of decoration, since there is underlined, I'm also going to change that. Do transition all 0.3 seconds at ease. Next thing I can change is the gap. I can give it a gap of 1 rem. 1 rem is too much. Gap of like 5 pixels, not too much. And I can also do transition. I can set the font size to 0.875 rem and do font weight set to 500. There we go. I think it's too much. I can do 1.2 rem probably. It's too big. There we go. I just realized I misspelled clothing. So let me quickly fix that. There we go. Now for the nav item hover, I can change that. Set the background to this color right here. Change the color to we'll be using blue color. Just gonna do 3B82F6. This is the bluish color. As you can see, looks nice. Now we did set a dot active. Now this will basically be our side nav bar, even though it doesn't work. It will basically do that. So I'm just gonna do background, set that to EFF and 6FF. Change that color, set that to that. Do border right 2 pixels solid, the same exact color, just like that. Looks pretty nice. Next thing I need to make is for the nav item, right? What I can do is do nav item I can do width 18 pixels, and that's for the actual icons, right? I can do font size, I can do 0.875 rem. Either I can do that, or I can just probably set that to 1 rem as the usual. And yeah, that should be it. Next for the explore button, do margin set to 0, 1.5 rem, 1.5 rem, and do background set to the signature blue color. You can also make CSS variable of this. And do color white, and do border none, Do padding 0.75 rem. Do border radius of 10 pixels. Font weight of 600. Cursor set to pointer and font size set to 1 rem. I think 1 rem is a little bigger, so I'm just gonna do 0.9 rem and do transition. Do background 0.3 seconds at ease. Now since we made transition, we also to make a hover icon, so I'm just gonna do hover. Put a extra darkish blue, so I'm just gonna do 25, 63, and EB. If I hover over it, as you can see, the background is a darker blue. And that's pretty much it. Now for the actual footer, right? This thing right here. What I'm gonna do is put a sidebar. I'm gonna call the thing that is sidebar footer. If I go here, as you can see, it's sidebar footer. I'll do padding. I can do 0.5, 1.5 rem. What am I saying? Do border top 1 pixel, solid F1, F5, and F9. The margin top set to auto. There we go. Now for the recent orders, H4, I can do font size 0.5 rem, color, set that to that, text transform set to uppercase, letter spacing set to 0.5 em, and do margin bottom set to 0.5 rem. Font weight set to 600. Yeah, that is for the recent orders. Now for the actual order item, do display flex, align items center, padding set that to 0.4 rem and 0, and do font size set to 0.8 rem. There we go. Do 0.8 rem. Why not? Oh, there we go. 0.7 is too small. I can probably do 0.9 actually. Yeah, 0.9 seems to be good. And yeah, I can just make a logout button here saying color, set that to that, text decoration, set that to none, and font size, set that to 0.9 rem, and do display flex line items center. Now one thing I forgot to make is the order dot, the dot in front of this, right? Now I'm gonna need to set a height and width, so that'll be 6 pixels. Background color, I'm going to change that to a darkish gray. Then do CBD and 5E0. So you'll see 2 squares appearing. Now what I can do here is to make that a circle, I can give a border radius of 0. Now with that, you'll see it becoming a perfect circle. Just like that. And at last they're sticking to each other. And do margin right, I can give 0.75 rem. Do that, and they are ready just like that. So that is our side nav bar. Looks pretty clean in my opinion. Does look pretty nice. And yeah, that's pretty much it for these side nav bar. Let's actually go ahead and start to style main content, right? Do main content. I'm gonna make a comment just like that. And here what I'm gonna do is do main content, right? Make a header. This will be a div. And here I'm just gonna do page title and do explore. Now, if you're thinking why the text is not appearing, because it's behind the thing. So if I change the index of this to, like, let's say -1, you'll see the explore text appearing because it was hiding behind the actual side nav bar, right? Now for that, I'll still put that into 100 or whatever. Yeah, still put that to 100. Now for now, what I'm going to do here, because we're using HTML, I'm going to set the opacity to 0. It will make the sidebar disappear. And we'll start to style. We'll make our main content here. So here, after the explore, right, what I need to do, well, actually, for explore, what I can do is, instead of making a div, I can make an h1, because making it a div will not make sense. Now I'm going to do filter tab. So in the beginning, I showed you 4 filter tabs, like all, men, women, and electronics. We'll basically be making that. So for that, I need a tab. Now we'll be using data sets for this. And I'm just going to do data and do category. This will be the prime thing that will basically, you know, be separating them and sorting that. I can do all. I can case that 4 times. Let's say the all is active all the time by default. And I can give men's. I can go men's clothing. I can give that and do men. I can just do copy that, paste that, change that to woman, and do woman. And here, take that to electronics, and just copy and paste that there. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that div. Now, after we're done with the thing, right? After we're done with this, we'll make a header actions. They'll basically be the search, the sliders, whatever, and also cart button. The search button will not work. However, will basically be, we can do it another thing. So I'm just gonna do, I'm gonna make a header actions for that to wrap all of the things. I'm gonna make a button you guys cannot see, so I'm just gonna scroll down. We'll do that. Probably push down a little bit and zoom in. That way you guys can see what I'm doing. And here what I'm gonna do is basically just do button and do action button and do class FES FA sliders and edge, just like that. And here I can do that. So this will be action button, right? So it will be the sliders, the menu buttons, just like that. Now next thing I need to do is make for the search. Cut that and make search, just like that. That will give me the search icon. Now next thing I need to do is make the shopping cart button, right? Now for that, and since that is a dynamic buttons, first let me just bring that. Now I'm doing shopping and cart. That will bring shopping cart. Now I also need to add an ID because we'll be using JavaScript in this. And next I'm just going to do span and do cart badge. So this will be the text. Initially in dummy data it will be 0, but it will be updating it dynamically. I'm just gonna do cart badge. There'll basically be the number, the number to use for the amount of items in the cart. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna make a user profile, just a dummy user profile. And let's say that says C. Why not? Everything works. And yeah, that should be pretty much it. Now, next thing that I need to make for the header, right? After we're done with our header, we can basically make our main content layout. So I can do dot content layout and just do inside this, I can do main section. And actually, before we do that, let me just style this much first, actually. Okay, let's style that first and we'll come back to it. Now let's scroll down. I don't know why I'm here. There we go. I'm gonna make a comment saying main content starts from here. Let's scroll down and I'm gonna call the main content and do flex set that to 1. What I'm also gonna do is cut that because we don't need that, and put that to normal size. Come back here and do margin left 260 pixels. I will come to that. There we go, just like that. Adding set that to rem. Max width, I'm going to calculate saying 100 view width minus 250 pixels. So we're just basically subtracting. We're basically saying whatever view width we have here, just calculate. This is the maximum view width, right? Now we do know that this width right here is 260 pixels by default. So we are basically subtracting whatever view width we have to 260 pixels. That will give us exactly, we'll set the max width of this to that, right? Now do header, I can do display flex, justify content space between, just like that. And do align items, set that to center, and margin bottom set to rem. Just like that. Now for the page title, do font size to rem, font weight 100. Oops. Font weight 700. And do color, set that to same color. Margin bottom set to 1 rem. Just like that. That is for the page title. Now for the filter tabs, which is these right here, right? What I'm going to do is first make them a flex and do gaps, set that to 0.5. There we go, just like that. Now to style individual tab, do padding, set that to 0.5 rem, and 1 rem. Do border, set to 1 pixel, solid, E2E and F0, background set to white, border radius set to 8 pixels, cursor set to pointer, font size set to 0.9 rem, and do color, set that to that, and transition, since we'll be using that, I'm just going to do 0.3 seconds ease. Do tab dot active. It's going to do background, set that to our signature blue. Now you can see the color, right? I'm going to change the border color to the same color, and change the color to white because it's black and it doesn't suit, just like that. Now So I need to make a state where it's hovering, but it's not dot active, right? So we can make that state. We'll change the border color to this gray. So if I hover over it, it will not change anything to the active, right? It will basically not make it for the dot active, what it will do for the rest of it. Now there's a small change I can show you guys. Nothing happens to the actual active, but the border color changes for the others. And yeah. Now what I can do is next is header actions, which is these right here. For header actions, I can do display, set that to flex, align items to center, and yeah, up to 1 rem. Just like that. I can also set back here. I can do action button, do padding set to 0.7 rem, do border 1 pixel solid. This one right here, same thing, and do background set white, border radius to 8 pixels, and also do cursor set to pointer, color set that to that, and transition all 0.3 seconds at ease, just like that. Now for the action button hover, I'm basically going to change the border color to the same thing right here. So if I hover over it, the same effect hovers. Now I'm going to style the card button, right? Set the background to this one right here. Set the color to white. To come down here and just do that. I can change that to card button just like that. And here what I can do is do border, set that to none. Padding set to 0.7 rem, 1 rem. And also do border radius to 8 pixels. Cursor set to pointer. Not border, but border radius. Just like that. And change that. And next is the font weight. Set that to 600. The font size 0.9 rem. And the position set to relative. Now for the card badge, which is this thing right here, what I'm going to do here for that is do card badge, call that first, set to absolute, and do top 4 pixels, and do right negative 4 pixels. It will be on the top. I meant top, not opacity. And I can do background, set that to a reddish color. Do red here. And do color, set to white. Border radius set to 50%. Width set to 18 pixels. Also height set to 18 pixels. And do font size 0.75 rem. Just like that. Do display, flex, align items center, display content to center. And that'll make a perfect icons for that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now for user profile, what I can do is give width about 36 pixels and give a background of E2 E8F0. Do border radius set to 8 pixels, display flex, line items to center, justify content to center, font weight to 600, just like that. I forgot to give the height. I'm gonna give a height of 36. And yeah, I'm gonna give a color of this. And that is our nav bar. Looks pretty nice in my opinion. Now let's make the content, right? The content layout. To make the content layout, let me go here. Here, what I'm gonna do is make a main section. Inside the main section, I'm gonna make a promo banner. So that'll be our promo banner. Inside the banner, I'm just gonna do promo content here. And here, I'm just gonna do get up to 50% off. Just like that. Do P. Start it directly here because I'm gonna start it directly because it doesn't have that much. So margin bottom 1 rem and do opacity set to 0.8. That's it. So I'm just gonna do. That's why I'm doing inline CSS. I'm just gonna type this dummy text here. And under this button, I'm gonna make a button for promo button and do get discount. I'm just gonna do that. So that will be for the content layout. That will be for promo banner. Now for the secondary banner, I'm just gonna make a div for secondary banner. H3 and scroll down and do winters weekend. Do P, keep it casual with our cozy collection. Just like that. And that should be pretty much it. And now after this, I'm just gonna make a sidebar section here. I'm gonna do dot sidebar section and do featured products, just like that, and do loading. There'll be a loading screen for that, and just do class. This will be a spinner, and I'll put a text saying loading featured products, just like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the content layout div, right? Now under this, we have to make a thing. So let me just quickly do that. I'm just gonna format the document here. Okay, I got confused here. Oops. Give me a second, guys. that is done, right? So the content layout is done. Now for the products grid, I'm just going to do products grid and make a products grid just this. Inside, I need to make a loading screen just like that. We'll basically make the content from JavaScript. So we'll do that so it doesn't, like, it will make sense. This will basically be the by default loading screens for that, and we should be fine. So do that and do loading products just like that. So that'll be for the loading screens. Now let us style the actual thing, right? So okay, there it is. So let me first style this, and we'll probably make the thing for the featured products, which is right this, and also for the products grid, right? And if you do that, I think it should be okay. And we'll keep making other things. So for now, what we can do is go to CSS and style our at least this much, right? Now for that thing, what I'm gonna do is what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna do content layout. So this will be our content layout. I'm gonna type content layout. I'm just gonna make a quick comment here. And here put display grid and also do grid template columns set to 1 fraction, 300 per fraction, just like this, and do gap 2 rem, and also do margin bottom set to 3 rem. Right. That's for the layout. I'm just gonna do main section, do display flex and flex direction set to column, and do gap 1.5 rem. And now for the promo banner, I'm just gonna do background, I'm gonna do radial gradient, and do circle at 30% and 50%. I'm gonna add 2 colors. So one will be a lightish green, so I'm gonna do AF3 and E7, F3, and D0. The amount will be about 0%, and other will be a little darker green, and do 6EE, 7B7, just like that, and do 100%. There we go. Border radius, I'm going to do 16 pixels. Padding, I'm going to do 2 rem. And also do color, I'm going to set to a dark green. And do 0.65 by F46. There we go. And do position set to relative. Do overflow. Do hidden. Min height set to 180 pixels. Display flex. Align items. Set to center. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now to style individual items, we only style the container, right? To style individual item, what I'm going to do is here, this will be the by default thing, right? It will look like that. So next thing I need to make is the promo contents. I'm just going to do promo content h2, do font size 1.75 rem, font weight, I'm going to do really dark, really bold and not dark at 800, and margin bottom set to a little bit just like that. Next thing I need to make is the style is the promo button. Now background, I'm going to make the same one just like this. Color, set that to white. Border set to none. Padding set to 0.1 rem and 1.25 rem. And do border radius set to 8 pixels. Font weight set to 600. Cursor set to pointer. And also set the font size to 0.9 rem. And there we go. That is our second container. Now for this secondary banner right here, what I'm going to do is do secondary banner, just like this, and do background set to FE, F3, and C7, and do border radius set to 16 pixels, do padding 1.5 rem, and do color set to a little bit darker, so I'm just going to do 92400E. And for the H3, so I'm just going to copy that, add H3 here. Font size, I'm going to just set to 1.25 rem. Font weight will be 700 and margin bottom will be 0.3. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Dun, dun, dun. Now to style the actual featured product, let me actually style the container, which is sidebar featured product, right? For the sidebar section, which is this right here. I'm just gonna copy that, paste that there, and set the background to white, right? Set the background to white, border radius to 16 pixels, and do padding set to 1.5 rem. To do box shadow set to 0, 1 pixel, 3 pixel. RGBA set to that. So that will be the container, which will look just like that. Now to make the featured product, we need JavaScript, because as I said, we'll be using JavaScript to do that. Now let's actually try to do it. Now in JavaScript, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make few additional arrays. So this will be the actual products, and I'm going to make few important empty variables, and we should be initial variables, and we should be fine. So that one is products, that's all of the products, and that will be the cart, right? The initial cart. And so the current category by default will set to be all, which is just right here, and that's pretty much it. Now for a sync, because we're calling an API, we'll do a sync function. Name will be load products. This will basically load the products from the API, and we don't need a parameter. And let's try. So let's try, and we also need to catch. Well, inside our try block, right? We'll also catch the error, since it was giving me that. So first we need to hit the API. So do const response. We'll use await because we are hitting the API. We'll use the fetch function and we'll get the API. So the API is pretty simple. That is fixorapi.com/products, right? And do products dot not dot is equals to await. We'll convert that into JavaScript object, just like that. Now another thing you can do here is we can check if response is not okay. So if it's not okay, we'll throw new error, just like that, and just do error fetching data or something like that, whatever you want. It should be like that. Or we can just do alert. API is now working. Just like that. Oh, okay, since we do that, I can just paste that in front of that, and there we go. It will not log it because alert will alert. Actually, we can put alert in hash block, because if you put alert here, this will not get logged, because alert is a asynchronous, but I cannot say anything. Oh my god. So yeah, so next thing that we need to do is to render featured products. So this is all of our products. Okay, so this is all of our featured products, which is just like that. I'm just gonna call the function here. We haven't made the function, we have to, you know, put the function here. For now, let's just do that. Now here, if there's an error, I'm just gonna do console.error. We'll console the error saying error loading products. And we'll basically log that. And we'll log the error, whatever the JavaScript throws at us. And that is our async function, just like that. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a function for render featured products. And first, I'm going to make a container. Now, to get the container, we know the container is, where is it? The container is this, right? This is our containers. So I'm just going to use that. I'm going to do document.get element b. I'm going to get that. That will get me the actual thing. Do const featured equals to. So here it will give me the product slice, right? I'm going to do products dot slice. It will slice from 0 to 2. 0 index to 2, right? Here, I'm just going to do container dot inner HTML. So this will basically be pretty much a simple thing. What it will do, it will get the products thing. Right now it's empty, but it will basically take 0 and 1. So it will take basically 2 technically, right? It will take 2 of the products and just paste it into that container. I'm going to do feature dot map. We'll basically use map, and inside the map it will get the products, since it will be product, and we'll take the index of that, and it will be just like this. Now we need to make the actual HTML for this, right? What I'm going to do is actually I'm just going to make the HTML here. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to make a div called featured product. Inside this, I'm just going to make a div called product badge. Product badge, and that should be done. Inside this, I'm just gonna make, I need to make something here. So I'm just gonna make something here. This will basically be logic for picking your pick or our choice. And just do button. Next thing I need to make is the button. So I'm just gonna do button. So this will be a button for adding to wish list, right? Also, we'll make another for favorites. Now for this, what I'm going to do, this will basically be button. So I'm just going to do wish list. This will basically be a wish list button. just, you know, a heart icon. So I'm just gonna do a just like that. Now on click, it will basically trigger a toggle wish list. Toggle wish list, and I'm just gonna get the product ID here and do product ID. You know, if you're thinking, what is this? It's in HTML, so it's giving me error. If it's in JavaScript, it will not give me error. So I'm just gonna leave it just like that. I need an icon tag, so I need a heart icon for that. Just gonna do that. Do FAR, FA, do heart. That'll give me a heart icon. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So next thing that I need to do is make an image for the source. This image will be given by product.image. Since this is an array of objects, right, coming from this API, obviously, because they're updating products to that, right? We can do, that will give me the image of the thing, image of the product, right? And I just to do product. I'm just going to set that to title and give it a class of product image, just like that. And after that, I'm going to make a div for product info and do h4. And now I'm just going to leave that empty for now because we need to write JavaScript logic for that. And here it's going to do product price and do on click, do add to cart product.id. So that will basically give me that will basically add whatever thing to that, right? Now here, what I can do is just basically do product.price. And yeah, that is our HTML. If I just format the document. Now, if I can just do that, come back here. And I'm gonna make a backtick here and do that. I think it should be done. That is our HTML for that, right? Now what I can do here is trying to do this and move the whole thing a little bit forward, just like that. And also do that. And here also do that. There we go, just like that. Now we need to add some few things. That is a badge. So we have to add badge according to the index. Do index. If it's equals to 1, then we'll just basically do dark. Otherwise, just do empty. And we'll close that and put this here. And there we go. Should be pretty simple. If I just close that, there we go. Next thing I need to do is add the thing here, parent image. Everything looks fine to me. Next in h4. Now h4, I'm just gonna use product.title, whatever title. I'm just basically changing that to substring and do substring, and here do 0 to 30. Next thing, I'm just gonna put 3 dots and there will be our thing. Now next thing that I need to make is we have to do the same for this. I'm just gonna copy that and paste that there. And that is our thing. So that will return me that. And last, I need to do dot join, but to join that by empty string. That will basically convert everything to string here. And that will render the products, right? Now next is to get the products. That was for the, render feature products. Next is actual rendering the actual products. Now to render that, what I can do is basically make another function here. That will say function render feature products. You can call that function inside here too, just like that. The next thing I can do is do that and do const container goes to document document.getElement by ID. I'm basically getting the products grid, which is this thing right here. I'm just gonna copy that, paste that here, just making sure I don't misspell it, and do filtered products. I'm just gonna equals to do current category. If it's equal to all, then products. Otherwise, then do products.filter. I'm just gonna filter whatever the thing is inside that and do p.category. P.category equals to current category. So filter whatever products that is in current category, which is like this. And yeah, I'm just gonna format the document just like that. And yeah, that should be fine. Now next thing I need to do is do if filter products dot length is equals to 0. If it is, then do container dot inner HTML. We'll make HTML structure here. Do loading and do p tag and do no products found. So this is the error case in sum if it doesn't work, just like this. We don't have to use backtick, but using that does not hurt. So yeah, if the filtered product length is 0, I'm just gonna return the function. There is no point in sitting in the function anyways, right? And yeah, now if that case is handled, what I can do is do container dot inner HTML equals to the same to filter products dot map. And here I can do product and do that. Now I need to make the thing, right? Now this will have the same product card as this one right here. So this will basically have the same thing, right? The only thing that will be different here is probably a few things. I'm just going to quickly change that and do format the document. I guess it will not work, so it's fine, I guess. And just need to make a product card. Inside this, I'm going to make a button with same wishlist button with a on click of toggle wishlist, and it will just toggle according to the product ID. And inside this button, I made the IPAG with a class of heart icon, just like that. Now under this, I need the image source. This will be product.image. And here, I'm just going to do that. That will be title. Now have a class of product product image, just like that. The next is product info. Why do I keep writing the dot there? And inside this, I'm gonna make a h4. This will basically be the same h4 tag as this one, just like this. This will basically make it so it will only go up to 40 letters, and after that it will just start writing dot dot if it's too long, right? And do p, do style, do color. We're putting in inline CSS because we don't have that much thing. And do 647 and 48e. For font size, I'm going to do 0.9 rem. Margin, I'm going to give 0.5 rem and 0. And here, I'm just going to do product price. And that's after button. I'm just going to make a add to cart button. And do on click to add to cart, and basically do product.id. And here do add to cart. And that's pretty much it for the product card. You can probably cut this, paste it here from the document, just like this, and do the same dot join here, and do format the document, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Now with that, what we can do here is probably you can probably call the functions. I can call the load products function. That will basically load all of our things. Right now it is absolutely horrendous, I know. That is why we basically first loaded the thing. So that will basically, after loading the function, it should work just like that. Now that is all the thing that we need to do. Now let's style the actual thing, okay? Now for the styling section, I'm just gonna do featured products and do position set to relative, margin bottom set to 1.5 rem. That should be pretty much it. Now for the product image, right? For the product image, I can do width 100%, height set to 1200 pixels. Nice look stretch. I'm just gonna do cover. That'll fix that. And the border radius set to 12 pixels and margin bottom set to 1 rem. Just like that. This should look, it doesn't look great, but once we do it, it will look nice, I promise, okay? And for the product badge, I'm just gonna set the to absolute and do top 0.8 rem. Do 7.5 actually. There we go. Do left, set that to 7.5 rem. And also do background, set to this one right here. So if I go to our product badge here, give me a second. So the product badge is okay, the prettier. I have to screw that up, but it should be. right over under the featured products. So if I just go here, there we go. It should be just like that, right? I'm hoping that I just spelled that correctly, which I did. Okay. What I can do here is basically just do color, set that to white. And next thing I can do is I can also do padding, set that to 0.4 rem and also 0.75 rem. And also do border radius, set that to 6 pixels. And do font size 0.75 rem. Do font weight set to 600. And yeah. And for the product page dot dark, we can do background, background set to this color right here. And for the wish list button, right, which is this one right here, what I can do here is do wish list, do position it absolute, and do top 0.75 rem, and the same for right, just like that. Oops. And set the background to something like 255, 255, and 255, 0.9. Do border to none. Do width to 32 pixels. Height, set that to 32 pixels. I just go here. And also do border radius set to 50%. Do display flex. Align items center, just like content to center. Cursor set to pointer. Also set the backdrop filter to giving it a 10% blur. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if I go around here, give me a second, guys. If I go to top here, I need to figure out why the thing is not working. Could be a spelling mistake, so I go here, which is come back. Where am I? Okay, there we go. There we go. Pretty sweet, right? Right. Now if I just do that, right now it looks horrible. We have to also style that. And yeah, should look pretty nice. Okay, then let's keep styling it, right? So after the wish list button, which is this right here, we need to style the actual thing, right? And do product info h4, do font weight 600, margin bottom set to 0.5 rem, font size set to 0.9 rem. There we go. For the price, we can set the background to our signature blue. color set to white, padding set to 0.5 rem and 1 rem, border radius set to 8 pixels, font weight set to 700, font size set to 0.875 rem, border set to none, and do cursor set to pointer, and do transition. You guys can see anything, so I'm going to scroll down to background and do 0.3 seconds at ease, just like that. I'm going to make a hover effect for that. Do hover and change the background to that. There we go. That is for all of the things. Now for the price dot dark, right? We also made a dark. You can do dark background set to dark, and yeah. To make hover state for this, I'm just gonna do hover and set the background to kind of a darkish gray. So I'm just gonna do 374,151, and there we go. Now for the actual products grid, right? Now for the actual products grid, which is all of these. Now what I'm going to do here is do products grid. I'm going to do display it as a grid. Do grid template columns, repeat auto fit. Do min max to 280 pixels per fraction. Do gap 1.5 rem and do margin top. That way it becomes like an actual grid, right? That's why grid is really good. Now next I can do products grid, products card actually, and do not product card, and do background. Set that to white. Do border radius set to 12 pixels, padding set to 1, right? Next thing I can do is do box shadow set to 0, 1 pixel, 3 pixels, and do RGBA set to that, and do transition all 0.3 seconds at ease. There we go. Next thing you can do is set a hover effect for this. You can do hover and do transform to translate, add negative white to that. Do box shadow 0, 4 pixels, 12 pixels, and RGBA set that to 5, like that. Do product card, product image, so these are for those two. Set the height to 160 pixels, just like that. Now for the add to cart button, right? Now for the add to cart button, what I'm gonna do I'm kind of getting tired right now. And yeah. So that is it for our add to cart button. So I'm just gonna do add here. So I'm just gonna do add to cart button. Get the width to 100%. That will basically get that increase the width of that. And just say background. I'm just gonna add FE, FE, F8, FE, FC. That's the whitish color. Whitish background. Do border 1 pixel, solid. Select this one right here. Do padding set to 0.7 rem. And do border radius set to 8 pixels. Cursor set to pointer. Font weight set to 600. Color. Let's set to this one right here. Do transition. All 0.3 seconds at ease. I'm gonna make a hover effect for this. And hover background and change to signature blue. Color set to white. And also change the border color to the same blue color. So as you can see, it's pretty nice. And the API fetching is working perfectly. Now the sorting feature does not work. Reason behind is we haven't made other stuff. But other than that, everything looks pretty nice, honestly. And one thing I can also add to that is I can add cursor to pointer. So this gives that feature, that vibe, right? And yeah. Now we have to make one last in HTML and we are done. That is our checkout overlay, right? Now to make that, what we can do is we can basically it's just an overlay, so we can probably do just like that because we're gonna position it over absolute anyways. So we can do checkout model just like that, and basically do checkout overlay just like that. So do checkout overlay. And here we'll basically do checkout container. Inside this, I'm going to do checkout header. And do h2 with a class of checkout title and put shopping cart here. Just like that. And after that, oops, I'm gonna make a button for which will have a class of close button with also an ID of close checkout. Will basically, there'll be a close buttons. I'm just gonna use thing that I can just do times just like that. That'll be the cross symbol. Now for the checkout, that's all for the checkout header. Now for the main checkout content, I'm just gonna do checkout content, right? Do ID check. I'm gonna do checkout content and do empty cart. So initially it will be empty cart, and I'm just gonna for that I'm just gonna use FA shopping cart. Do style set to font size set to 3 rem, and also do color set to E2 E8 F0. Do margin bottom set to 1 rem. That is all of our things. And last, I do your cart is empty. And at last, the checkout footer. After we are done that, after the checkout content, right? I'm just gonna make the checkout footer here. So I'm just gonna do checkout footer. So do checkout footer. And also make a style of display none initially. And here I'm just gonna do total amount. Also do total amount. Let's say the total initially is $0.00. And at last I want a button that says checkout button that says proceed to checkout. And yeah, that is our checkout overlay. If we just format the document really quick, that is our checkout model. And with that, we are done with HTML completely. Let's style our checkout model. Okay, let's do that. Now to style it, I need to first call it. So I'm just gonna do checkout overlay. Position set to fixed. Do top 0, left 0, right 0, and bottom I'm gonna set to 0. It's like that. Now I'm just gonna do background set to RGBA. Will be background here, just like that. Also do a backdrop filter of a blur 4 pixels, and also do z index of 1000, display it to none initially. Now this was something that I will not be doing initially, so that will be the thing, right? That is the thing. When the align items, set that to center, justify content, set that to center. Now initially it will be display flex. If it's flex, it will come to none, right? Just gonna do flex for now. This will have a look. Now for the checkout container, I'm just gonna do checkout container. Background I'm gonna set to wide. Border radius I'm gonna set to 16 pixels. And width I'm gonna do 90%. Max width I'm just gonna set to around 600 pixels. And max height I'm gonna do 90 view height. Just like that. And overflow I'm just gonna do hidden. Do box shadow. Do 0, 20 pixels. 40 pixels, and RGBA set to that right there. Now for the checkout header, right? Checkout header, I'm just gonna do padding set to 1.5 rem. Border bottom, I'm just gonna repeat that. Border bottom, I'm gonna do 1 pixel solid. This one right here. And here I'm just gonna do display flex, display content. Display content, I'm gonna do between, and do align items to center. There we go. And here, what I'm going to do is for the checkout title, font size, I'm going to increase that much. The font weight, I'm going to give a bolder effect. I think it was that much is enough. Now for the close button, and do backgrounds to none, border set to none. It's very small, so I'm gonna do font size. I'm gonna increase that by that much. And yeah, that should be it. So yeah, give me a second, guys. So if I do that, now next thing I need to make, so give me a second. So next is for the, that was for the close button, right? That was for the close button. Also give it a pointer and a color of a darkish gray. There we go, that's for that. Now card item. Now for card item, like that. Add dot here. Scroll down to do display flex align item center. Right, and do gap, do one run rem. Adding set to 1 rem and 0. Border bottom set to 1 pixel, solid. F1, F5, and F9. And yeah, so this is for the pre-styling for the thing. We'll basically make it using JavaScript later. So I don't think you have to worry about that. So yeah. So the HTML will be something like that, and for HTML, what I need to do here for HTML is I need to come down here, and we basically need to we need to replace that, right? Now, I'm gonna make the card item here, so just do card item. Inside the card item, there will be image. Do that. Do item dot image. This will be the thing, or put whatever you want. I'm also gonna put the same thing here, saying the title, because it will be fetching it from the API. That's why. And do cart dot cart item dash info. The first is the title, so I'm just gonna do cart item dash title. So I'm just gonna do that. Next one will be price. Next for the controls div, quantity controls, and do button dot quantity button, and do on click update quantity. So this is the function that we'll be making later. And do item.id, do -1 here. Oops. The comma here, and initially it'll be none, because this will basically be a minus symbol. Now next is the actual quantity, so I'm just gonna do span. I'm gonna use span. And yeah, I'm just gonna do item.quantity here, and do class, oops, do style, adding 0, 0, 0, and 0.5 rem, just like that. Now next, I can just copy that, paste it here. There's also quantity button, but update quantity, I'm gonna do -1. I'm gonna change that to 1 there, and change that to a plus sign. At last, this will be the remove button, and this will have a function remove from cart, and same thing, and it will only take an ID and just have a content of remove. And that's pretty much it. So if I just get this here and put it right over here, just like that, right? And now start to actually style it. It will probably make it look like that. Now here, what I have done is to cart item here, right? For my document here, the cart item, we have gotten the class of the thing. And here we are basically styling it. So I'm just gonna do cart item for the last child, right? Just gonna do border bottom set to none. Just like this, and do cart item img. The image, and do width set to 60 pixels, and do height set to 60 pixels as well. Do object fit to cover, and also do border radius, which is 8 pixels. Now for the cart item, right? I'll do cart item dash info. I can do flex 1. Now for the title, do font weight to 600, margin bottom set to 0.25 rem, the font size 0.9 rem. There we go. I'm gonna copy paste that. Next is price. Color, I'm going to set to that. Now here the price I'm turning here, so I do that here. Give me a second. For the price there is nothing, so that's why it's not loading. Otherwise it will work, as you can see. So I'm going to do font weight set to 700. There we go. I type a here and here, this will how it will look. And for the quantity controls, all the buttons, right? Quantity, you can do controls to display flex, align items set to center. Gap, I'm just gonna do 0.5 rem. And the margin top, I'm going to do 0.5 as well. Here, I'm just going to call the button here. Background, I'm going to set to F1, F5, and F9. Border, set to none. Do width, set to 24 pixels. Height, set to 24 pixels as well. And also do border radius set to 4 pixels. And do cursor set to pointer. Do font size set to 0.9. And yeah, that is our button. Now for the remove button, set the background to FEE. And do 2E2, and do color set to red. Now I can set the border to none. The padding set to 0.25 rem, 0.5 rem. Border radius set to 4 pixels, and also do cursor set to pointer. Font size I can do 0.75. And yeah, that is about it. Now next thing I need to do is probably set the checkout footer The padding 1.5 rem. I'm also gonna undo the display display none here, right? Undo the display none, and I'm basically so here what I can do is can see if this right here div can close this, come back here and save this into a variable saying struct, something like that, and save this here for now and remove that from here, right? And just bring it here. There we go. Bring the empty card here, and that's pretty much it. I come back here and let's style our footer. Do like for footer, I'm just gonna for now I'm just gonna close that. So you know, put that there. Do total amount. I'm just gonna do font size to 1.5 rem and do font weight set to 700 and do margin bottom set to 1.5 rem and also do text align set to center. Next is the checkout button. Do width set to 100%, background set to a light green, so I'm just gonna do 10B981. Do color set to white, border set to none, padding set to 0.9 rem. And here I can set the border radius to 8 pixels. Font weight set to 700, font size set to 1 rem, and cursor set to pointer. Now to style the empty card, so this will be very simple. Empty card, I'm just going to call that. Text align set to center. And padding, I'm just going to set to rem. And do color, do this here. And yeah, that is all of the things for the thing. Now we have to make a few other stuffs. That's for the loading. So we have to make loading, text line center, do padding to rem, basically same thing. It'll be same thing. Now for now I'm just gonna get back this. And I'm gonna come up here for the cart. For the checkout, add to cart. Checkout header. So checkout overlay, this will be initially set to none, and yeah, that is it for the checkout. You have to make that from JavaScript, and that's almost done for the CSS. We have to make our loading and our spinner. Now for the spinner, what I'm going to do is basically do border 2 pixels solid. It's going to do F1 like that and do border top set to 2 pixels solid. Ours, green. Border radius set to 50%. Width set to 24 pixels. Height set to 24 pixels as well. And here I'm just going to do animation, do spin 1 second, linear, infinite. And here do margin 0 auto and do 1 rem. There we go. Now here what I'm going to do is do media queries, and here do max width to 1024 pixels for the first. For that I'm just going to do content layout, grid template columns, and adjust that to 1 fraction, you know, for small layouts. And another thing is the sidebar. Sidebar section will basically repeat auto fit. I'm just gonna do min max and do 280 pixels per fraction, and do display grid, do gap set to 1 rem. As you can see, it is perfectly responsive for 1024. So let's go for a little bit less. Let's say around here. That is 768, less than 768, I think. Now, when it hits like 768, what I'm going to do is do sidebar and do transform, translate to -100%, and do transition, transform 0.3 seconds. Okay, there we go. So do sidebar dot open. So we have to open the sidebar, do transform, and we'll do translate to 0. Right? Now there's margin, so I'm do mean content, do margin left 0, and do padding 1 rem, just like that. Now last I'm just gonna do header flex direction set to column, align items set to stretch, and do gap 1 rem. Okay, now for the filter tabs, do justify content centers. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So if I do that, that should be just like that. So it's not responsive for really long screens. It is kind of responsive for smaller screens. That is pretty much it. That all the things you have to do in CSS. Now let's move on to JavaScript. We are done with HTML and CSS. Now for the JavaScript, where we are at actually. I just do that, and yeah, that's. Now next thing that we need to make is the add to cart function. So I'm gonna come down here, and I'm gonna have the load products work for now to see all of our, all of our products that have been pulled from the API. So here I'm just gonna make a new function that's called add to cart. That will basically add the thing on the cart, right? Now for that, what I'm going to do is use a product ID. So I'm just going to get the product ID of it. I'm just going to do that, and here I'm just going to make a new function. So initially I'm going to get the product. I'm going to make a variable called product. I spelled it wrong. I'm just going to do product equals to, I'm going to do products, which is our array of all of the products, right? I'm going to use the find method to find a specific product. So for that, I need to, this is the current iterating product, or you can also call it a loop variable. Now I can also do this and also do p.id, which is the ID of the product, right? If the p.id, which is the product we're finding, the product we're iterating, does match the product ID. So we're going to get that. So like the product ID that we sent, we'll check if it matches that or not. If it does, it will return true, and that product will be stored inside that. So what we're going to do is do const existing item. If there existing item in the cart, I can basically do cart. I can do the same for that, saying cart dot find, and do item here, loop that, just like that, do item dot id if it matches our product ID. So again, get all of those, right? And now if existing item, which is the existing item, right? If this exists, we'll basically do existing item dot quantity. Quantity will increase that by 1, right? Else, we'll just do cart dot push. We'll push our existing product with all of our product. We'll push the quantity and set that to 1, just like that. And now we can just basically do cart emits. We can do update cart UI. Now this is the function that we'll be making in a bit, don't worry. We'll make 3 other functions, that is show notification, add it to cart, add it to cart, and do render checkout. So this will render the checkout, right? That is the thing that we need to make. Okay, that is pretty much seems to be it. Now, next thing that we can do is make, we have added to the cart. We also have to make another function that will basically remove items from the cart. Now, this will be relatively simple. Remove from cart. This will again get the product ID, and this will basically get the cart. So cart.filter. Filter will filter the item, and if the item is not equals to product ID, right? If it's not equal to product ID, we'll basically just update cart UI and render checkout. Just like that, should be fine. Now, next thing what we can do is we can get the update quantity function. When you're clicking on the cart UI, right, you also have the plus and minus, which basically increases the quantity. We have to make a function for that, so I'm just going to do function update quantity. For that, we'll get 2 things. That is first the product ID and then the change. So change will be either the user decreased it or increased it, right? I can do const item get the cart. We'll do the same thing that we did here. I can actually just copy paste that. Not this one, because we're doing basically the same thing here. We're basically finding items that matches our item ID, and just do if the item exists. First, you have to check the item exists. If it does, we'll do item dot quantity. We'll basically set the change, right? Just like that. And if the user tries to decrease it, so the lowest it can go is probably 0, right? It cannot go more than that. So we can just do item dot quantity if is less than or equals to 0. Well, to check this condition, we'll just do remove product ID. So we'll basically remove the thing from the cart entirely. That makes sense. And do update cart UI. We have to change the UI on the front end side, and also do the render checkout, right? just like that. That is our update quantity function. Now we'll make the actual function for toggle wish list. So this thing right here, this will be a normal wish list. It will just have a small effect, nothing too fancy, right? We'll do toggle wish list. We have to get the product ID for that again. We'll get the button, which is the button, right? Now we have made it so that we have to get the product ID. We have to get the DOM according to the product ID. So what you can do here is do equals to document dot query selector. We have to select the query. Now how to select it? We'll basically check if the onClick, whichever ID is selecting to, we'll basically do this, and we'll do toggle. We'll run this and do toggle, and we'll basically do, we'll put the product ID here, just like that, and we need to get the I of that, just like that. Now next thing, if button dot class list dot contains, we have to contain if it contains FAR. If it does, we'll basically do button dot class name. Oops. Class name, we'll mutate that to FAS, FA, and heart. That is the heart logo. And we'll basically do btn. I need to scroll down actually. btn dot style. Oops. Style dot color. And you do if we'll basically put a red color. So we'll do F, and that will be the color. For the else block, we can just do, if it's not clicked, we'll just put that to empty. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the toggle wish list. Now it should just toggle. So like that, as you can see, it works. Now let's go ahead and make our cart, update cart UI. Let's go up here. I'm gonna reload this page. Now I can just do update cart UI. I can make this. This will be a simple function. I need to get the badge first. Do document dot get element by ID. I'm gonna get the cart badge, and here I'm just gonna do const total items, and do cart dot reduce, and do sum item, and do sum plus item dot quantity, and get 0. Just like this. And next thing I need to do is do badge dot text content. You can do total items, and now I can do badge dot style dot display. I can do total. I can check if the total items is greater than 0. We have to check that. If it is, we'll do flex. Otherwise, we'll do none. Just like that. Now we have to make the show checkout, and this will basically show the checkout model. To do that, I can do show checkout. I can basically make that, and here I can do const overlay equals to, if we get the overlay, we already have made the overlay here, right? We need this overlay here. And do document.get element by ID. I can basically just get the overlay here. That will get me the DOM. And do overlay.style dot display. And we'll just do flex and do render checkout. Just like that. That'll basically render the checkout. Now we haven't made the render checkout function, so let us quickly do that. So for this, what we're gonna do is this will be a really big function. So we'll do function render checkout, and we'll do content equals to document. And just scroll down. Just basically do this. Scroll down a little bit and do document dot get element by ID. Get element by ID. Just like that, and do checkout content. I need to get that DOM, right? And do const footer equals to document dot get element by ID. I can do checkout footer. Now, next thing I need to do is get the total amount. So get total amount equals to document dot get element by ID. For that, I need to get the total amount DOM. So these three are the things that we need. The next thing I can do, we can check if the cart dot length is equals to 0. If it is, we'll just do content dot inner HTML. We need to set that thing to your cart is empty, which is by default, right? Now to do that, we can get that, come down here, and we just need this there right here. I'll just copy that, paste this inside that, and just do it just like that. Just probably do it like that and push the whole card like that. And that is our content. I can also probably format the document really quick. I still want it to be a little bit down though. So that is it. So next thing you can do is do footer. I can scroll down and do footer dot style dot display. Footer dot style dot display. I can set that to none. I don't need that, and just return from the function. That is if the cart is empty. That is the condition for cart being empty. The next thing is if the cart isn't empty, right? Now for that, what we can do is do content, and we basically do the same way as we did for these things. We'll basically loop the cart. So do cart dot map. We'll use map. Put the item as like that, and here I can just basically paste our thing. Now, thankfully, we have made this right here. So we can just copy, paste it right here, and just like that, we should be fine. And I can do that, and also probably, oops, just like that, one more time, there we go. And push the whole side a little bit further. Format the document, and just like that, it should be done. So we can just basically now join with empty string to make that whole thing a string, and just do const total equals to cart. Now we don't need this, so I'm just gonna cut that just like that, and do cart dot reduce. We'll reduce and we get the sum of all the things. Do sum and item, which will get me the sum, which is all individual item here. We'll just basically do sum plus item dot price times item quantity. Item dot quantity, it makes sense, right? Well, basically we need the item price. We'll put that out and add it to our sum. And just like that. There we go. Now next is total amount. We have calculated the total. And I have to add that. So I'm just going to do total and put whatever thing that we have, that is total dot to fixed dot to fixed, and we'll basically fix it to two digit. after decimal, and do footer dot style, and display, we'll display it as block, just like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now for the last function that we need to make, not last actually, one of our last, I think after that we'll make the setup event listeners, and after that we should be done. So the next function that we need to make is the show notification function, right? That will basically show notification. Do function show notification, and this will basically say if the card, let's just say when you click add to cart, it will say add it to cart, just like that. Now to make the function, since we haven't made this, we have to make it in JavaScript. Now this will be a kind of a pain, but we have to do it. So yeah, so the document, we need to create element. We'll create a div here. Now we'll basically say that the text content, we'll basically set the text content to message, whatever message we are like passing as an argument from other like places, right? I will get it as parameter. And now we have to style it. So we'll do notif.style. We'll basically do position. I'll set that to fixed. And do notif style. We'll basically do style dot bottom equals to 20 pixels. And here we'll basically need that for quite a bit. Now next thing I need to do is to bottom, set the bottom to 20 pixels, right? And do right, set that to 20 pixels. Background, set that to our signature blue. Do we have signature? There we go. Just like that. Now next thing I need to change is the color of the text. So I'm just going to set the color to white. Next thing I can do is set the padding. Set the padding to 0.75 rem and 1 rem. Just like that. Border radius, set that to 8 pixels. And do font weight. Font weight is set to like 600. And do z index set to 2000. And at last, do box shadow, set that to 0, 4 pixels, 12 pixels, and RGBA set to 0, 0, 0, 0.15. So that will be the color. Now for making that, we have to do document dot body. We'll need to append child to notif, which is our div. So that is all the things. And after that, we'll basically set a timeout. We'll do set timeout of 2 seconds. We'll do notification dot style dot opacity. For 2 seconds, after 2 seconds, it will set to 0. Now I will add another touch. I'll also add a transition here. Do style. I'll do transition. Transition will set to opacity. And the 0.5 seconds at ease. And after that, it will, after being there for 2 seconds, it will just the timeout saying after 500 milliseconds, we'll just do notification dot remove. And yeah, that should be it. Now, after setting all of the event listeners, we should be ready to actually do the thing. So now we're almost done here. We'll do function setup event listeners, setup event listeners. And here we'll just do document dot query selector all, just do tab, and for each tab we'll just loop all of that and do document dot query selector all. We'll just loop we'll do tab, and then we'll listen to the tab, sorry. We'll do tab dot, okay, why are emits so annoying? We need to do, I need to probably do something like this. There we go. We need to do tab dot add event listener. Add event listener. We'll listen to this. We'll listen to a click. After, if the thing is clicked, we'll just do document dot query selector all. We'll get all the tab. For each tab, we'll basically just t dot, we'll remove the active. We'll just remove the active just like that. With that said, it should be done. And do tab dot classlist dot add. We'll add active. And just do current category equals to tab dot dataset. Tab dot dataset dot category. And do render products. That will be the first thing that we need to do. Just like that. But if you're wondering what's tab, oops. Let's do tab. These are basically the tabs. Okay. Now with that said, I think it should be okay. But before we do it, we'll basically just put all of others things, right? Now, next thing that we need to add the event listener for is the card button, which is this button right here. We can first get the DOM, so do get document.get element by ID, get the card button. We'll listen to it. We'll listen to a click, and if that thing is clicked, we'll just, get that. We'll just run the function. Now, next for the close button, so we'll get the close checkout DOM, right? We'll listen to it again like that. We'll listen to it, and we'll listen to a click, obviously. And if that thing is clicked, we'll just run a function here saying document.get element by ID. We'll get the checkout overlay. That will get the DOM, and do style.display equals to, we'll just set that to none. And that will basically close the thing. Now, if the target, so what we'll basically do is we'll also put it so if you click on the overlay, it will just close itself. So we'll do document.get element by ID, and we'll just get the checkout overlay, and just do add event listener. We'll listen to a click again. If that thing does, we'll pass the event from that, and do if e.target.id is equal to whatever that the same thing, then do e.target.style dot display. We'll change that to none. And that's pretty much it. At last, for the checkout button, it will be super simple. We'll basically do, first thing we need to get the DOM, so we'll do checkout button equals to document.get element, you can do query selector here, and do checkout button, and do checkout button dot add event listener. Add event listener will listen to a click, and just basically just do if cart.length is equals to 0. We'll just do show notification, just do your cart is empty, and else we'll just copy that, paste that here, and we'll basically say proceeding to checkout, just like that. And at last we have already made the load product. So if I can come down here, we need to do that. And next thing we need to do is to set up event listeners. And with that said, our project should be done. Let's check if there are any errors that we're getting. We're not getting any errors right now, so that's good. And yeah, let's try to do something. So we can make the wish list is working, even though it doesn't add stuff. The sorting mechanism is also working, as you can see. If I hit electronics, it will sort according to that. And now let's try to add few stuff. Let's try to add an SSD. It is getting added. Let's also add another clothes and see if it's working. It in fact is. There is a kind of a error here. Now we can basically fix that. It shouldn't be that hard. We can basically just change the orders. If we can go here and do cart item, right? So I can just basically probably do margin left about 2 rem. There we go. That, as you can see, it is getting fixed. Now I can add more stuff. Let's add this, everything to that. It will get me the total. We can also improve it, like increase the quantity, decrease the quantity, just like that. If we hit proceed to checkout, it will say proceeding to checkout, and yeah, it works. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today's stream, guys. If you enjoyed the stream and learned something new, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And link to the source code will be down in the description box below. And with that said, I'll see you guys in another stream or another video with another project or another tutorial. Bye bye.